Andrew David has it teed up for the Falcons. Big crowd here tonight. As always, Massillon travels well. We'll get down to Glenn Gessler for our first Armstrong sideline report at the very first opportunity. And we are underway. The kickoff high and deep will drift into the end zone, well over the head of Sam Orts. Fitch will start from the 20. Our first quarter tonight will be brought to you in part by Tommy's Jerky Outlet. Tommy's Jerky Outlet features the original finger food made from 100% USDA inspected round steak and premium cuts of turkey. Tommy's Jerky Outlet on Southern Boulevard, Boardman.
Andrew David, just an outstanding kick. And how often do we talk, Jim, about the kickoffs and how Denny had that pregame feature on quarterbacks, how important it is now with the advent of soccer and the concentration on kickers and how they've been just booting the ball out of the end zone and just saving yardage for teams.
All right, let's see if Coach Phil Annarella pulls something out of his hat early, saying he has to keep the Massillon defense off balance. They send three guys in motion, splitting two wide right, setting one up as a wing left. They hand it off to Darren Hall. Looked like he had a seam off the left edge. It shuts down quickly. Goes down around the 23. Speaking of down, let's zoom down to the sideline, Len.
You know what? I know it's Game 7, guys, but what a playoff atmosphere this is down here right now. And both of these teams come in 6-0, as was noted. Unfortunately, neither one of these teams will play each other in the playoffs. Massillon has dropped down to Division 2, Fitch at Division 1. Jim, what a game this should be. Jim, Mario?
Thanks, Len. That was a 3-yard pickup approximately. They're going to call it 2, and we'll stick with that. So it's 2nd and 8 from the 28. Hall taking a direct, or rather, this is Harris taking the direct snap, weaves through traffic, fakes his way out across the 30 to the 35, and a first down. Antoine Harris.
And Jim, it's so big for Coach Annarella when they made the switch. When we saw Antoine Harris in week 1 against Warren Harding, we saw him come in basically in the second half in almost a mop-up role and just go bazonga. I mean, just went crazy.
No huddle offense here. Handoff to Hall from a deep setback, and he crashes straight ahead out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 5. Hall comes in with almost 790 yards rushing on the season, and Harris started the night with just under 730.
Yeah, and Antoine Harris really getting that second start in week 2 after really taking over for Gabe Chepke. Nothing against him, but it's his ability to run. Antoine Harris has just put up magical numbers so far through 6 weeks for the Falcons.
2nd and 5 from the 40. Harris, quick throw out into the left flat, almost intercepted. Great break on the ball by Alex Daly, and had the ball not been quite as high, he'd be in the end zone right now.
Yeah, tremendous break. They read Antoine Harris the entire way. They didn't fall for the ball fake. They tried to get out the quick screen out to the edge, and really an incredible jump on the ball break. From the time that ball, he goes into his back pedal, from the time that ball turned around, incredible timing by the DB from Massillon.
All right, it is 3rd and 5 now. Harris takes the snap, fakes the Hall, runs into heavy traffic at the line of scrimmage, bounces off and breaks free. He's in Massillon territory. 25, 20, 10, 5, touchdown! A tremendous run by Antoine Harris, who looked like he was going to be bottled up near the line of scrimmage, but nobody wrapped. He slid off to the right, and it was off to the races for Antoine Harris, his 13th rushing touchdown of the year, and it will be his longest run of the year by 1 yard. He went 55.
And that's the skill set that Coach Annarella wanted to get onto the field for the Falcons. It appeared that Robinson and Daly for the Tigers were going to be able to wrap, but the big, powerful bottom of Antoine Harris allowed him to run through and then showed great speed from the 40 on.
Nick Shealy's left-footed soccer-style kick splits the uprights, and with 10:08 to go in the first quarter, Falcons have drawn first blood. It's Fitch 7, Massillon nothing on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Our first Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary of the night. Fitch goes 80 yards, 5 plays, 1 minute and 52 seconds, 55-yard run by Antoine Harris. Nick Shealy, who got the extra point, will kick it away for the Falcons. And he gets a good foot into it. Will this make it to the end zone? It will. An over-the-head catch by Reggie Rogers in the end zone. Haas Auto Group is your zero-hassle dealer. Find out for yourself. Stop in on Route 224 between Tippecanoe Road and Route 11 in Canfield. Rogers will be one of the Tigers wideouts, along with Marcus Whitfield, Bo Huffman, the tight end, freshman Danny Clark at quarterback, Malik Dudley at fullback, and Teron Wilson is the tailback.
Danny Clark, big quarterback at 6'3", 200 pounds, a left-hander, a southpaw. We'll see if on their rollouts, if they use it predominantly, work him rolling out to the left, because that would be a strong side on the rolls.
We'll get to their offensive line after the first down play. Got a running back behind him. It's Wilson. He's hitting the backfield and dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Big line out in front for Massillon. The tackles, Chase Lash at 278. He's actually lost 20 pounds since last year. Donnie Heather at 240, a sophomore on the other tackle. The guards are Ron Humphrey at 260 and George Papakostas at 285. And the center is a 280-pounder, Nate Devers. It will be 2nd and 13 for Massillon. Handoff. Faked. Left-handed throw deep over the middle. We're going to get a flag. There was a tangling of feet with the intended receiver and Fitch defender, Carell Johnson.
And a wonderfully thrown ball down into the middle of the field. A great post route. It's just a kickback. Carell Johnson had Marcus Whitfield. He had him step for step. It's just right at the last moment at about the 50-yard line. Legs got entangled, and it looked like he tried to jump a little bit onto the back of Whitfield. A very good call by the referee. It was definitely pass interference on the Falcons by Carell Johnson. But what touch did Danny Clark put on that ball? They bit on the play fake. They went man-to-man on the corner just in case. It's better to get the pass interference on that and just get the 15-yard penalty.
Completing 62.5% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Wilson again hit in the backfield. Ball popped loose.
Jim, tremendous.
But they're going to call that a loss to the 30th. Second 3-yard loss. Tremendous pursuit.
And it's the second time out of the pistol that the Tigers have tried to go right over on that side. One time, Gary Gibson, very undersized are the Falcons and that second level of defense and the linebackers. So their defensive linemen doing a good job of protecting the linebackers. And that time it was Tyler Hewlett, the junior.
2nd and 13 from the 30. Falcons started the blitz. Wilson trying to weave through the right side. Breaks an ankle tackle at the 30. Gets to the near sideline across the 45 to a first down for the Massillon Tigers. Tonight's Fitch football broadcast is presented by Diamond 9 Development. Diamond 9's explosive speed and strength division can train athletes in any sport. Diamond 9 is the official sponsor of Fitch Falcons football here on 570 WKBN. Mark the ball at the 27-yard line.
A tremendous block that time by Reggie Rogers of the Tigers. A big receiver for a junior. Great job of sealing off the edge for the Tigers.
Clark wants to throw, has the slant, caught in Fitch territory at the 42 by Marcus Whitfield.
And this is what the Tigers did a lot last year. The Falcons very strong against the run, but they opened up with that passing game last year with Kyle Kemp and really just tore the Falcon defense apart. A simple slant route to the receiver Whitfield, came across the middle. They had run LaRon Wilson, who made the strong safety go to him. The outside linebackers go with LaRon Wilson on a little bit of a bubble, which allowed that middle to be wide open on the slant.
All right, again, Wilson will line up behind Clark. They've got a guy in front and to the right. Wilson gets it. This time there is a little seam behind the right guard and tackle, but it is shut down quickly. Fitch holding that to just a 1-yard gain. Fitch on the season is giving up just 68 yards a game rushing.
Yeah, and so far early on, Drake Marinelli, Ryan Sayers, the two defensive ends, along with Tony Benahana, doing a nice job of getting penetration and protecting the linebackers.
Clark, quick snap, quick throw, deep to the near side. It is caught There is a penalty flag down, but the ball was caught. It's immaterial. Nice catch by Reggie Rogers, who worked his way inside the defensive back to go up and get the ball, which was thrown slightly to the inside.
And the good thing is Reggie Rogers made a tremendous adjustment. He was running a simple go route to the outside. As a big receiver, he had Rodney Smith, who had inside position on him. He repositioned and then went up, much like we've seen George Shamus, the Poland wide receiver, got inside position like a rebounder and then basically fought him off. Rodney Smith had the interference, but they're going to take the play to Reggie Rogers. Tremendous throw by Danny Clark.
A 33-yard completion. It'll be first and goal for Massillon from the Fitch 6. We saw a real shootout last week.
Yep.
And this one is off to a somewhat similar start. Handoff. Wilson jumps into the middle of the line of scrimmage, and he also jumps into a bunch of blue-shirted Falcons for a gain of about a yard. Drake Marinelli and Ryan Sayers are the defensive ends. Tony Bahana is the nose man. We are going to get an officials timeout here, and that will allow us to give you the rest of the Fitch defense and also tell you that Home Savings is the sponsor of the High School Football Team of the Week Award. Visit 570WKBN.com to keep track of the weekly winners and see video as well. Presented by Home Savings, where you can bank your way with free checking on your smartphone. The outside linebackers for Fitch are Tyler Hewlett and Gary Gibson. Inside, it's Sam Orts and Brett Weidenthal. C.J. Martini is the middle linebacker. The corners are Carell Johnson and Rodney Smith. Brian Presley is the safety. And Len, any clue as to what the officials' timeout was about? All right, first and goal, Massillon from the Fitch 6. Put a big fullback offset behind the right tackle. They give it to Wilson, who gives ground and goes down. More tremendous penetration by the Fitch defense.
Yeah, and it was led by number 50, Ryan Sayers. Great job of slicing in between the guard and the tackle and getting that penetration. They've done a great job. Also led by Martini and Sam Orts. They were able to stop Wilson on the last play. So much like last year, the ability to stop the run, but the passing game that Massillon brings, their developed passing game for a high school team, really the Falcons struggled last year and now again this year.
Falcons started a blitz, and now they're going to be called offside as Sam Orts violated the neutral zone, charging in from a linebacker spot, and so that will take the ball back down to the 5. It'll be second and goal from there.
And the Falcons basically this entire drive against the Tigers, their linebackers have been running up to the line of scrimmage, the outside linebackers pulling back, trying to give the freshman quarterback a little bit of a different look, but he's answered on each time that he's had to throw the ball here tonight, Jim.
It's great if you time it right. Clark waits for the snap, takes it, gives it to Wilson, and this time Wilson breaks through off the left hip of his center and into the end zone.
A little bit of a delayed handoff that time. It appears the Falcons got some penetrations. It's just the Tigers blocked just at the right spot between that guard-center gap over on the left side, allowed the Falcons to get in, and then Ron Wilson on that delayed handoff. Tremendous burst up the middle.
Andrew David, who has hit 21 of 23 extra points, sizes up a tying conversion attempt. Snap is down, and the kick is true. So with 5:53 to go in the first quarter, these two undefeated teams are still even, but they both got points. It's 7-all on the Bear Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Here's your Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Massillon goes 80 yards, 8 plays, got help from a couple of penalties, used 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And LaRon Wilson scores from 5 yards out. And that's your Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Haas Auto Group has a vehicle for every budget. See for yourself online at HaasAutoGroup.com. That's HAUS Autogroup.com.
Jim, Mario, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but in a normal football game, there's only 5 officials until we get to the state finals. Tonight, guys, because of the importance of this game, we got 7 officials on the field. Interesting. Jim?
All right, thanks, Len. An Armstrong sideline report. Armstrong, one wire, infinite possibilities. Massillon kicking off for the second time tonight. David drills a wobbler taken inside the 5, coming out across the 10, 15, 20, and maybe to the 22-yard line by Gary Gibson, who came in averaging about 16 and a half yards a return.
The Falcons set up a nice little wedge, but then obviously the Tigers got down in some good coverage, stopping them. You're going to force the Falcons to go on a pretty long field here.
Well, they went 80, both teams on their first possession went 80 yards to score, did it a little differently.
Yeah, and Coach Anarella has to be pleased. They come out, Massillon wins the toss, elects to give them the ball first to get their defense out to see how they match up against that Falcon offense. Falcons have to be pleased to get out that first initial score knowing you get the ball coming out of the second half, too.
All right, they come out and send Austin Hogan split right. That's into the short side of the field. 2 wideouts to the left. They're going to give the ball to Darren Hall. Left to right into the middle of the line. He's grabbed quickly and manages to fall forward with a little inertia at about the 24. A pickup of 2. Second down and 8.
Devon Ingram, a senior at 5'10", 205 for the Tigers. Excellent job of filling the play on the delayed handoff to Hicks to just step in and then drag him down in a nice open field.
Fitch going no huddle, but not hurry up. They look to the sideline to get the play and then line up, and they will on occasion come out of their preliminary set and look back to the bench. Not this time. Here's a straight handoff to Hall. Gets to the corner quickly, but he is driven out of bounds around the 25-yard line. Good pursuit as Massillon massed its defense into the short side of the field.
Yeah, and they have good strength up front and then very good quickness in that second level. They've had the most success is running basically in between the tackles. Where they've struggled a little bit is to get to the inside. Remember, the touchdown from Antoine Harris started inside and then he bounced after on a couple of missed tackles. So the strength has been going up the middle. Massillon with excellent lateral pursuit.
3rd and 5 from the 25. Harris going to keep it. Got a little bit of an escort around the left corner. He'll cross the 30, close to the 33-yard line, and it looks like he's got enough for a first down. And I should say that they actually needed more than 5 because they started from the 22 and it gets to the 33.
I mean, just a tremendous run by their quarterback. Antoine Harris has, really big thighs, and really the thing that I like about him so much that we saw in our initial game at Warren Harding is it's very seldom that we saw one man bring him down. He gets into a pile looking for action.
Has good size. First down at the 33. Hall gets it, and he's stopped standing up and will get no gain. Tonight's high school football broadcast here on 570 WKBN is being brought to you in part by Stadium GM Superstore, the legal team of Beatrice, Kopp, and Harshman, Austintown Bounce, Coke Construction, Quality Pet Market, Rachel's Steak and Seafood, the Fitch Boosters, and Inner Circle Pizza, marking for a loss of a yard.
Excellent play by Dakota Dunwitty, the sophomore defensive tackle, strafing across the line, going from left to right.
2nd and 11 from the 32. Fake to Hall, and a quick throw right up the gut to C.J. Martini, who makes his second catch of the year, and it's good for maybe a first down.
And with the Falcons being so strong against the run, that's going to be critical for the Tigers to be able to believe that Antoine Harris, the Falcon quarterback, has the ability to at least throw a little. He doesn't have to throw 15, 25 times a game. That would be really bad for Coach Annarella's Falcons because their mode is on the ground. But just enough to keep those safeties from creeping into the box.
Completing less than 40% of his passes, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far this year. Fake handoff to Hall, held it in there a long time and then slides left. Does Antoine Harris and takes it out near midfield. Boy, there was near disaster there, and he held on a fraction of a second longer. They'll mark the ball at the 47, a 4-yard pickup. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Boy, the Tigers are very fortunate that J.D. Crabtree was able to hold on right at the last moment to bring down Antoine Harris, but that's what a quarterback's supposed to do on that read option. Hold it into that belly till the last moment.
Harris takes the snap out of the pistol, drops the ball as he puts it in Harris's belly and falls on it back at the 41.
And that's what you don't want. You don't want to set yourself up in long down in distance because it's just not Harris's mode to really be able to chuck the ball, and it's not the way the Falcons are built. They're not built for a downfield passing attack. It's designed to go spread option, inside runs, get Harris in motion as a quarterback runner.
3rd and 12. We have Hall lined up as a wing right. Harris steps up, throws deep down the right side, intended for Hogan. He underthrew it, and it's picked off down inside the Massillon 25-yard line. And on the interception, it was cornerback,
I think it's
Savio Isles, his 3rd interception of the season. Timeout on the field, 1:57 to go. First quarter, 7-7. Fitch and Massillon on the Baird Brothers high school football game of the week. Well, on first down, the Falcons get good pressure on Danny Clark. He's forced in the clutches of a defender to throw inside to J.D. Crabtree, who's hit quickly and dropped for a 1-yard gain at the 24. 2nd and 9 for Massillon. Clark looking all the way, breaks free of a tackler, almost steps out of another, and then the Falcons keep coming with more bodies, and he'll be knocked down around the 15. They will mark it dead at the 20, but there's that good pressure that they want to give the freshman.
Absolutely, but I think we're going to have a problem, though, for the Falcons, because I believe Brent Wiedenthal, he was the man that initially made the initial contact to get to Clark, and I think he caught his shoulder. He seems to be really clutching his left shoulder on that play when he missed the tackle initially on Clark. But great pressure.
Damian Gray would be his backup. We have a timeout on the field. Wiedenthal is on his knees, but has his shoulders slanted down to the left. So we'll see if we can get an update on that for you. 1:02 to go, first quarter. It's Fitch 7, Massillon 7 on the Baird Brothers high school football game of the week. All right, Brett Wiedenthal leaves the field under his own power, but still is tilted to his left. A shoulder problem of some kind. Meanwhile, Massillon 3rd and 13 from its own 20 after the strong rush by the Falcon defense. Less than a minute to go now in the first quarter, tied at 7. Clark now started his count, looks back to the bench to get a fresh play call. Gets the hand signal, comes in, he gets his running back to move to his other side. That's Malik Dudley, his fullback, takes the snap, looks right, throws, it's complete. Falcons missed the first tackle, but kept on coming, and they stopped the receiver short of the first down.
Yeah, and they moved the tight end, Bo Huffman, to the inside slot and just tried to hit him on a really quick hitter. Did a great job of catching the ball in traffic, did Huffman. You can see why he has the skill set to probably put on a lot of weight as he moves on to Division I. Probably some MAC schools, or, definitely that caliber with his size.
They will be in a 4th and 2, and we'll let the clock run out here. Tonight's halftime report will be presented by Quaker City Motorsports Park, the home of great pumpkin race weekend, this weekend through Sunday. And this quarter of tonight's high school football broadcast on 570 WKBN was brought to you in part by Tommy's Jerky Outlet on Southern Boulevard in Boardman. Tommy's Jerky Outlet is stocked with a big selection of jerky flavors, 98% fat-free and high in protein. At the end of one, it's Fitch 7, Massillon 7 on the Baird Brothers high school football game of the week.
Bigger smiles, louder cheers, longer talks. Enjoy the possibilities more than ever with Armstrong. Armstrong delivers the latest in television, on-demand, multi-room PVR, high definition. Zoom Internet has the speed and reliability you need for all your devices. And it's all backed by local award-winning customer service to keep you connected. Enjoy the possibilities with Armstrong.
Now we just had our first big gamble of this ball game as the Massillon punter Andrew David stepped up and threw the ball from the get-go from punt formation, threw it over the middle. It was a pretty-looking pass, except it didn't get near a receiver, and Fitch gets a break, takes over at the Massillon 31-yard line.
Yeah, and the Falcons catch a huge break because John Henry Bronzik, their starting safety for the Tigers, he was open down the middle. It's just a case where David didn't throw it with enough loft, actually threw it too much of a line drive.
All right. Handoff to Hall, slants left, spins down to the 30. Good pursuit, good penetration there by the Massillon defense. The Duke Cut halftime scoreboard is part of our high school football Friday night broadcast. It's presented by Duke Cut Sales and Service, now on Route 224 in Boardman, as well as on Route 422 in Warren. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for the Falcons, who would obviously dearly love to get a score of some kind out of this great field position.
Yeah, and you would hope it'd be on a drive and not just a big broken play, but the sophomore defensive tackles in Donnie Heather and Dakota Dunwitty are pretty much having their way up front with the Falcon offensive line.
Harris, little delay throw to the near side, stepping out of a tackle and then spinning inside the 30 down to about the 26 is Joey Harrington. That is his 7th catch of the season.
And as we talked about earlier in the first quarter, Jim, just a little bit of passing, just the ability to get the linebackers off that line of scrimmage to open up just a little space for Darren Hall. He's so gifted and such a big runner that's very shifty. Those linebackers are really getting to the ball very quickly on the Tigers.
2nd and 5 from the 26. There's a fake to Hall. Harris follows him around the left side and dives down near the 20-yard line. And that, if he got to the 20, it's a 1st down. If he didn't, we may see a measurement.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
1st down.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what college recruiters really want to see in Darren Hall. They know he's got the skill set to run the ball. They know he can catch the ball. It's your commitment on the other facets. How well do you go through on your play fakes? How well are you committed to running your blocking aspects? And Darren Hall proved it on that, enabling Harris to get the 1st down.
So it's 1st down Fitch, just outside the Massillon 20, tied at 7 early in the 2nd quarter. Now Fitch looks to the sideline, and they'll take a timeout, will the Falcons. Len, quickly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember, too, Nick Shealy now, it's within his range, the Fitch field goal kicker. So at any moment in time, if they decide to go for the field goal, Shealy's range is right here, guys.
All right, our 2nd quarter tonight is being brought to you in part by the people who paved the Austintown School campus parking lots. R.T. Vernal Paving and Excavating, taking pride in your satisfaction since 1975. Timeout on the field. This is the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Antoine Harris rolling right, throwing right, and threw it a little high for Joey Harrington. Threw it into some coverage and was under pressure when he did it, but he threw it in a place where nobody could catch it.
The thing is, Harris did have some time initially until David Ingram crashed through that line and kind of caught him from behind. But those are the plays because he had Gibson in the flat and he also had Harrington who was open. But you've got to be able to throw a catchable ball. And on that play, Harris didn't throw a catchable ball to let his receiver succeed.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10. They've actually set the ball back a yard to the 21, so that's what we will call the previous spot. Harris, penalty flag flies as he squirts through a hole on the left side down near the 15, but he squirted through a hole created by a holding penalty.
Yeah, now you have to hope the Falcons are able to overcome their little bit of self-destructive behavior. They had called a good play on 1st down to get the Tigers off that line of scrimmage, but now you have the hold. So can they still maintain and take advantage of the turnover from the Massillon Tigers on that fake punt?
It'll be 2nd and 21 for the Falcons. Ball spotted back now at the Massillon 32. It's on the left hash. The Falcons are moving right to left here in the 2nd quarter. We are 15 seconds into the 2nd quarter. The latest Edward J. DeBartolo Corporation Scholar Athlete of the Week is Jenna Cusick. Jenna is a senior at Boardman. Learn more about Jenna in our interview with her during our halftime show. We're going to get a timeout here called by the Falcons as they try to figure out what's best to do on 2nd and 11. 9:37 to go, first half. It's the Falcons 7, the Tigers of Massillon 7 on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Pizza Hut, home of great pizza, pasta, and wings, is proud sponsor of the 50-50 coupon giveaway at 570 WKBN high school football local broadcast locations this season. We'll give one away again tonight. 9:37 to go, first half. Fitch and Massillon tied at 7. They each drove 80 yards to score on their first possessions of the ball game in the first quarter. Fitch getting the ball here at the Massillon 31 after a fourth down pass out of punt formation went incomplete. There's a give to Hall, trying to go wide right. Massillon turns it in. He tries to cut back to his left. There's a welcoming committee there, and Hall is thrown for a 4-yard loss, or a 3-yard loss actually, back to the 35, and it's 3rd and forever now.
Boy, and the bowling ball of an inside linebacker, Malik Dudley, did a great job of getting to the outside, bottling up Hall as he tried to stretch to the outside. He kept perfect containment, kept his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, got about 3 yards into the backfield, and forced Hall to bounce inside.
Empty backfield with 3 receivers to the right. Harris rolls that way, throws on the run, got his man inside the 30, down to about the 24. It's a long ways away. It was
Austin Hogan, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, what happened, the pass was completed, guys, but one of the Massillon tacklers came in, went helmet first. And it's kind of interesting because the official that was right in front of it did not throw a flag, but the official that was about 15 yards down the field is the one that saw it clear. Don't know why the man that was looking at it didn't throw it, but that's what the foul is.
Okay. And
well, that's why you have 7, Jim.
Yeah, that's a good thing tonight.
It was Correll Johnson, number 5, that actually caught the ball.
Yeah, I was looking to see if it was 5 or 6. Hogan raced over there afterwards in case there was some kind of confrontation. The penalty, the pass was completed to the 24, which would not have been good enough for the first down. The penalty takes it to the 12, and that's also short of a first down.
Because in high school football, it's not an automatic first down with a personal foul call.
All right, well, Massillon went for it in 4th and long. Now Fitch on 4th and 1, deep in Massillon territory. Will go for it. Fake to Hall. Harris up the middle, breaks free, touchdown.
Wow, tremendous fake by Garrett Hall. They come across the face of Antoine Harris, and they get a tremendous block over there by Jose Rodriguez, Zaborski, and Pablo Rubio over on the right side. Just tremendous. Block down, wide open hole, goes into the end zone untouched. And you know, that's a big play for Coach Inarella. You've got a kicker in Sheely that could potentially make it. You get the points up on the board. They elect to go for the first down and end up getting the touchdown. Big call by Coach Inarella.
And that's a great job by that offensive line because compared to Massillon, it is undersized.
Super undersized.
They out-techniqued them and outworked them.
And the other thing, too, you cannot focus on either Hall or Harris because either one will burn you, guys.
Sheely curls an extra point, high and through, and with 8:36 to go in the first half, Fitch has regained the lead on Massillon, 14-7 on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Well, the Fitch Falcons take over on downs at the Massillon 31. They go 31 yards in 7 plays, 3 minutes and 19 seconds on 4th and 1. Antoine Harris runs in from 12 yards out for the touchdown, and that's the Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Haas Auto Group has a state-of-the-art service department, too. Find out more online at hausautogroup.com or in person at Route 224 east of Route 11. The Nick Sheely kickoff will be into the end zone again. We have not yet had a kickoff tonight. Well, we had one kickoff that was returned, so we're 3 out of 4. So Massillon will again start from its own 20.
Yeah, and both teams have had to play the long field coming back. The Falcons, really aided by that personal foul to allow them to get that 4th and 1. They weren't able to end up capitalizing on technically the Massillon turnover on the fake punt. So that's a big thing. I mean, to come out initially on your first drive to get the score before that sweat's really worked out, you get a stand, and then you come back and you get a score off the turnover. Very important.
In this defense, which is undersized and probably been undersized all year, again, just like the Harding game, sending sometimes 4, 5, 6, even 8 guys.
They are quick. Clark with a fake handoff, throws it out in the flat underneath. Nice block, but coming up quickly to make a hellacious hit is Damian Gray, who has replaced Brett Weidenthal at that inside linebacker spot.
And the thing is, on that quick screen to the wide receiver, to Whitfield, the initial contact was Gary Gibson, who was outside playing corner, or outside linebacker, made the initial, forced him to go inside, and then the big tackle.
3-yard pickup, 2nd and 7. Clark with a running back behind him. He will give it to him. Wilson trying to go behind tackle, forced to bounce it outside, and Fitch drives him out of bounds into his own bench at about the 25-yard line.
Jim,
Mark at the 26, pickup of 3, 3rd and 4 coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, again, tremendous lateral pursuit by the Falcon defense, getting to the outside to stop the back. But the thing I think is going to happen here eventually, the Tigers are going to start to go with slants to the wide side of the field off play fakes, because the safety is so committing. The free safety in the middle of the field is so committing to the run to the short side. It's basically leaving the wide side cornerback one-on-one with either Whitfield or Rogers. Bad matchups.
Less than 7.5 to play here in the first half. Fitch leading 14-7. Play action fake. Clark wanted to throw left. Had nowhere to go. 3 Falcons there to bury him behind the line of scrimmage. And leading the way, Ryan Sayers.
Yeah, tremendous. Sayers, Benahana, and Marinelli are playing tremendous up front. Not only doing a good job of protecting their back 4 and 5 in linebackers and secondary, but also in their own right getting penetration to disrupt plays.
Carell Johnson back alone to receive the punt around his own 45. Snap is good. Little bit of pressure up the middle. Very high kick, not very long. And a dangerous catch running forward made by Carell Johnson, and the Falcons will get it again in Massillon territory at the 46. We'll keep it right here with about 6.5 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, Jim, I think that's a very dangerous play. I mean, it shows you a lot of courage, did Carell Johnson coming up for that ball, but it just seemed at the last moment that ball almost died up in the air on that high punt, and he really had to lunge at the last moment to commit to making that fair catch ball. That's one that I think Coach Inero would really sacrifice the field position to not have the potential turnover of the special teams.
Well, guys, and I'm not too sure that Massillon has not seen a team like Fitch with its quickness this year. Jim?
Armstrong sideline observation. Fake one way. Hall comes back to the left, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds near side, inside the 45, near the 43 for a 3-yard pickup. You mentioned how that punt got held up. There's a huge flag here at Fitch, so it's not surprising that it's not moving much in whatever breeze there is.
You know, it was odd, Jim. It just seemed like it died almost midway up in the air. Carell Johnson, though, to his credit, did make a really good play.
2nd and 7. Ball on the left hash at the Massillon 43. Just under 6 minutes to play, first half. Falcons trying to add to a 14-7 lead. 3 receivers to the right. They're ignored as Hall gets a straight handoff, bursts to the left edge, and inside the 35-yard line for a Falcons first down.
Yeah, and get a tremendous block by C.J. Martini lining up at the tight end position. They go trips right, empty over on the short side of the field, and just got a tremendous down block by Matt Pasillo, one of the biggest of the offensive linemen over on the left side for the Falcons at 6'2", 263, a returning young man for Coach Giannarella next year.
9-yard pickup, first down at the Massillon 34. Quick throw out to the right side. Harrington's got it 35, outside 30, 25, 20. He is going to win the foot race. Touchdown, Falcons.
And the man who's set it up was the man who got the punt, that got the Falcons set up on the punt. Carell Johnson was the outside receiver and had a rippingly good block where he blocked down on the outside corner, allowing Harrington to burst to that edge and show that speed. Wow. Falcon offense working on all cylinders using the pass and the run tonight with Antoine Harris.
That is the first touchdown pass credited to Antoine Harris this season. For Harrington, it is his third touchdown catch. Caught a couple from Dave Chepke. Shealy adds another extra point, and with 5:26 to go in the first half, the Fitch Falcons have taken a 21-7 advantage on the undefeated Massillon Tigers. This is the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Fitch off the short Massillon punt goes 46 yards in 3 plays, 1 minute and 7 seconds. Antoine Harris to Joey Harrington with a pass, catch, and run for 34 yards for the touchdown, and that's your latest Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Haas Auto Group is your zero-hassle dealer. Shealy with another kickoff. High end over end, just to the goal line, no, about a yard deep. And Massillon, for the third time, will be forced to start from its own 20-yard line. Drove the field its first time. Second time tried a fake on 4th down, a pass play out of punt formation that went incomplete. Falcons turned that into a score. And last time held deep in their own territory, got a high short punt, another short field for Fitch, and the Falcons went in again.
Yeah, and what a weapon Nick Shealy is for the Falcons and Coach Annarella, because all those hidden yards that get lost in the wash of having to start at the 20 and forcing a team to always go that long field, what a weapon for the Falcons.
So the freshman, Danny Clark, takes another direct snap, hands it off to Wilson, who weaves his way through heavy traffic in the middle of the line, still on his feet in a big scrum out near the 30, and they'll finally whistle it dead, and that'll be plenty enough for the first down for LaRon Wilson.
Was that J.D. Crabtree?
Or was it 19?
I believe it was Crabtree. Yeah, that was J.D. Crabtree on that inside run, and a tremendous block that time by Nate Devers, the senior center at 6'5", 280. Last year started at the guard position, really got off the ball and got downfield to that second level.
10-yard pickup, first down, Massillon at its own 30. Falcons again faking the blitz, and now they point at tackle Chase Lash, who moved, and that will be a penalty against the Tigers and bring up 1st and 15 at the 25.
Yeah, and after the Tigers obviously get off to a good start on the run by J.D. Crabtree, then you set them back and you set them up in another long down and distance. On the initial drive, the Tigers did great because their quarterback, Clark, had time. He was able to get down the field and challenge the Falcon defensive backs.
By the way, that was only Crabtree's second carry. They don't use their fullback much. He's going to get it again. Tries to stretch it out to the left, and the Falcons will have none of it. Wow. And he will be absolutely buried back inside the 25-yard line. This Fitch run defense is the real deal.
Yeah, their quickness, the quickness for being so undersized up front. I mean, they basically are all about the same size. The entire team is almost about 200 pounds except for that third level. But they do such a good job of getting the offensive linemen hands off of them and then getting upfield penetration, and then it's just a swarm of lateral movement.
3rd and 16 after a 1-yard loss. Clark alone in the backfield this time. Will retreat. Looking, has time. It finally breaks down, and down he goes at the 17. Great coverage downfield by the Falcons. And now some Massillon players have begun pushing and shoving. Not sure who started it, but you can count on the fact that the guys who reacted are going to get flagged.
Yeah, Coach Annarella, the referee, had to come and get him. He was one of the first men off of the sideline to try and get his team to regain their composure. I think we're going to have offsetting here against both teams, so I don't think this is going to be a much ado about nothing.
Well, the sack was good for 6 yards to the 18. And they are going to... Go ahead, Len.
Yeah, they're going to penalize Clark because he was the retaliatory person in this whole melee. And I'm telling you guys, it doesn't get any more electric. I don't care if it's a playoff game, a state final game. There's electricity down here on this field on both sides of the field. And a timeout's been called, and probably a good thing, just to calm both squads down a little bit.
It comes with 3:41 to go in the first half. Fitch has a chance to get good field position again. Already leading 21-7 on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Embroidery and Screen Print has new Adidas apparel in stock and now offers athletic shoes in adult and youth sizes. Stop in on West Liberty Street in Girard. 4th and long. Well, they're calling it 3rd and long for Massillon from its own 9-yard line. They're going to hand it off to Wilson straight up. No, that was Crabtree again, I think, straight up the middle, and he got to about the 11.
Yeah, and it's very slow. Players getting up out of that pile. It seems people are holding on just a little bit too long at the end of tackles, and the Falcons are just as guilty of it as the Tigers are.
So, and I talked to somebody from Massillon, guys, who has followed Massillon this year. They told me this is the quickest team and the best team so far Massillon has seen.
Well, it is a 4th and 29. Again, a very high punt. This time a fair catch is called for. It actually bounces at about the Massillon 42 and then takes a hop into Fitch territory and will roll dead around the 43-yard line. Maybe a good decision there by Correll Johnson. Even though he called for the fair catch, he had an odd angle. That high punt is very deceiving.
Yeah, and that was much like the last one, Jim. I was very happy that Correll Johnson elected just to wait that one out. You're better to just let the ball bounce and have it bounce to wherever it's going to go, that little thing, than to really try and commit to making a play just to gain an extra 10, 15, 20 yards.
That was a 38-yard punt that time. Fitch taking over at its own 43-yard line. It's got to seem like they're a mile away from the goal line after the last two possessions.
Changing backs, and no, Paul's still in.
Running back alongside, Hall alongside Harris, takes the handoff, tries to go left, and it's all Massillon to his left, and he'll go down with a loss back to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, and Malik Dudley, Jim, number 2 for the Tigers, the senior at 6'1", 215. They basically tried to run away from him and basically left him empty. Didn't have anyone even touch him, hoping that Hall's quickness, there would be enough space to that wide side of the field that you could leave him empty. He showed great pursuit from the backside to bring Hall down.
The original line of scrimmage was the 38, not the 43. It means that was a 33-yard punt. Harris alone in the backfield, waits patiently and finally finds a seam he can poke his head into and get it out to the 35-yard line. And now, with 2:05 to go in the half, Massillon calls a timeout, figuring if it can make a stop here, it will get the ball back.
Yeah, and very smart by Coach Jason Hall. Plenty of time. You've got a quarterback that can throw. You've got a bevy of weapons out on the edge that you can go to. When their quarterback, Clark, has had the time, as he did on that initial first drive, he showed the ability to hit receivers in stride and throws a very nice ball for a left-hander. So we'll see how this plays out.
The Ducott halftime scoreboard will be part of all our Friday night football broadcasts, halftime reports, find out what other teams in the area are doing, courtesy of Ducott Sales and Service, Route 224 in Boardman and Route 422 in Warren. And that halftime report tonight will be presented by Quaker City Motorsports Park. Go online to QuakerCityMotorsportsPark.com to find out all about this weekend's great pumpkin race weekend. So Fitch comes out in a 3rd down and 13 from its own 35. 2:05 to go, first half, leading 21-7.
And I couldn't imagine they wouldn't run to force Massillon to burn another timeout.
All right, there's the fake to Hall going left. And Harris is going to break to the right. He's going to be knocked down at the 40, short of a first down, but Massillon will be forced to use that timeout with 1:58 to play. Mark the ball at the 41, so it will be a 4th and 7 coming up.
Yes, see, Jim, from that standpoint, I mean, obviously, Harris is not the thrower that he could potentially be, but a very good runner, and you force Massillon to burn another timeout, and potentially, with your kicking situation, pin them back down again and make them go the long down and distance.
You know, guys, These teams have played 19 times. Massillon owns the all-time record, 14-5 over Fitch. But the last time the Falcons have defeated Massillon here at Fitch Stadium was in 1992, and that score was 14-0, Fitch as the victor. So it's been a lot of years since Fitch has beaten the Tigers here at Falcon Stadium, Jim. And again, they are very, very hungry. Still have a half of football to go, so still plenty of time for Massillon to get back in this thing. Jim, Mario?
All right, keep in mind, Fitch came into this game giving up just 5.5 points a game on average. Akron-Hoban scored 12. Brunswick scored 14. Dover scored 7. They've shut out their other 3 opponents. Great kick. Bit of a line drive. Rogers races over to take it around the 23, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds at about the 27. There were 2 Falcons there. The Massillon fans wanted a late hit.
You know, Len, you mentioned that 92 team. The last time that the Falcons beat the Tigers here at Falcon Stadium, that's ironically the last time under Coach Hartman that the Falcons made the state semifinals, which ironically they just honored that 92 team tonight on the field for Hall of Fame night. They honored that 92 team that lost, I believe, 31-0 in the state semifinal against when St. Ignatius really was in the monster heyday of the beginnings of that dynasty in Ohio football.
That was a 36-yard punt, 4-yard return. Massillon starts from its own 27, empty backfield. Clark drops with a bevy of receivers to his right. Now he's forced to scramble out, puts a shoulder down, and knocks a Fitch defender down. Now there may be a fumble, if not another altercation, but that was quite a run by the freshman. He was not going to go down without a fight, almost literally. Takes it to the 31-yard line.
Boy, Coach Jason Hall is adamant about his team getting to the line of scrimmage, circling his hand, telling his team, let's go, get a play going. Time is running.
It's at 123. It was a 4-yard pickup. 2nd and 6. Clark again alone in the backfield. Looks left, throws underneath to the right. Complete. This is Reggie Rogers. He's hit 3 or 4 times, spinning the whole time. He does get the first down at the 40.
And that's going to stop the clock to move the chain. So the Tigers are going to get a chance to really set up a play without that clock running.
Remember, Massillon's kicker, Andrew David, has a long leg, too. He kicked a 50-yarder in warm-ups, Jim.
He's 1 for 6 on the year, though. There's a nice inside route caught by Marcus Whitfield in Fitch territory.
Yeah, and their quarterback, David Clark's really taking some shots because the Falcons are being hyper-aggressive, blitzing the ball, but threw a very nice ball under pressure.
That was a 16-yard pickup to the Fitch 44. Clark slams the ball to the turf to stop the clock with 53 seconds.
Well, he won't do that again because that ball came up and caught him right in the face mask. He slammed it so hard.
Now the Falcons have to be very conscientious not to let anyone get by. Gary Gibson and most of the corners for Fitch playing man-to-man.
Clark looks left, shakes his shoulders right, throws deep to the left. Leaping attempt for the catch, poked away from Reggie Rogers by Carell Johnson. Terrific defense there.
It was. Carell Johnson, unlike a couple of other plays, played inside position and then felt the ball. Basically, you're watching those receivers' eyes. When they get big on those jump balls, you're turning around. Carell Johnson put his back or his butt right to the receiver. Rogers, as he was going up for it, went up with him, and he also had good safety help coming over from Brian Presley.
3rd and 10, Massillon from the Fitch 44. 46 seconds to go in the first half. Fitch leads 21-7. Snap to Clark. Quick throw to the near side. Caught by Whitfield. Grabbed around the ankles by Gibson. Tries to get forward to the 40 and then is swamped by a host of blue shirts. That will be a pickup of 4 and bring up 4th down. Pickup of, 4th and 6.
Yeah, I can't believe that the Tigers didn't get a personal foul. I mean, there is some jawing going on and some late pushing and shoving from both teams. But here we are, 4th down. Clock running, Jim.
14 seconds, 4th and 6 at the Fitch 40. Clark takes the snap, looks left all the way, throws. Rogers with a terrific catch at the 28. with great defense.
Yeah, that means Rogers, a tremendous catch. He caught it on the slant with the pressure of Corral Johnson.
And he spikes it again to stop the clock with 3 seconds to go.
Wow, that is a gifted young man, is Rogers. The ability to go into traffic, catch the ball with his hands, doesn't allow it to get into his breastplate, really makes a commitment to catching it with his hands, and that's the signs of a great receiver.
So here we are. They're going to try a 45-yard field goal straight away. Snap is down. Kick is blocked. Kick is blocked. And that's the way the first half will end. That ball never really even got up. The Falcons, however, with tremendous pressure, have played a great first half against the Massillon Tigers. Len Gesser will be down on the field with one of tonight's coaches.
Family, friends, and neighbors are featured on Armstrong local programming. Meet fascinating people, visit new places, enjoy special events. Armstrong has our community like no one else. Hometown favorites are available on demand with your Television Plus subscription, or find a complete program schedule at ArmstrongOneWire.com. Local programming exclusively from Armstrong. One Wire, infinite possibilities. Enjoy the convenience of home phone service from Armstrong. Armstrong Telephone delivers reliability you can't get with a cell phone. All your calling is one low monthly price, no confusing rate plan. Your favorite calling features are included. Check out the exclusive online management tools, set call forwarding, do not disturb, and more. You can even have your voicemail sent to your email. For great savings, bundle television, telephone, and internet. Armstrong, One Wire, infinite possibilities.
12 yards net, only 15 on the ground. Their freshman quarterback, Danny Clark, was 9 for 11 for 97 yards. One of those incompletions was a spike of the football. Fitch rushed 20 times for 112 yards, threw for 59 for a total of 171 yards. The kickoff will come down to the goal line and be brought out straight ahead to the 15. Outside right to the 20. Whitfield stopped standing up, actually just before he got to the 20. Good kick coverage by the Falcons, and Massillon again starting back at or inside its own 20-yard line.
Yeah, another credit to Nick Shealy and that kick coverage team for the Falcons. First one that they've actually been able to return, but Rodney Smith, one of the first young men down there to break down and bring down Whitfield. Now it's critical that the Falcons, I know being up 21-0, but you can't think that it's over at all. You've got to play strong. Whoa, looks like we got a penalty.
Yeah, there was a penalty against Massillon on the return. It'll take the ball back to the 10.
Back to the thought. Critical for the Falcons to come out and really get a stop here and not allow Massillon to get back into it and close this to a one possession game.
Our third quarter tonight will be brought to you in part by Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, traditional craftsmanship, timeless style. First play from scrimmage is a running play. And that was Crabtree. I wonder if Wilson is hurt.
Yeah, it could be. J.D. Crabtree opening up in the second half, getting the initial carry. And number 34, Sam Orts, who has just played a tremendous game from his outside linebacker position, really getting to the ball with tremendous athleticism.
And remember, guys, number 19 for Fitch, Brett Weinthal, out for the rest of the game.
Hasn't affected him so far. There's another quick handoff after virtually no gain on first down. And again, Crabtree with the carry. Again, he carried it only one time before tonight. I believe that's his fourth carry tonight for very little effect. And it was going to be 3rd and 9 as he got about a yard there. In the first half, LaRon Wilson, their leading rusher, carried the ball 7 times for 16 yards and scored their touchdown. 3rd and 9 for Massillon from its own 11, trailing 21-7, just over a minute into the third quarter here at Fitch on a super night with a super crowd and 2 terrific football teams.
Got to watch the slant to Rogers here.
Clark with the drop, looking left all the way. Now scrambles right, throws deep down the right sideline for Huffman. A little pushing and shoving. He makes the catch, but a great tackle right there by Rodney Smith. Huffman got away with a push.
Yeah, he definitely did, but that goes to show the athleticism of Huffman. The Tigers come right out. They get the penalty. They get themselves in a really bad position, not being able to run. But then the athleticism of Huffman, and shows why he's such a dangerous weapon for the Tigers.
51-yard pickup to the Fitch 38.
And just outworked basically Rodney Smith. He was there, just a little bit undersized, and then the skill set of Huffman to go up and get that ball.
6'3", Huffman. Smith, 5'8". Clark having trouble getting a play set. Massillon may have to burn a timeout, and does. So confusion reigns after the big play. Let's see if that timeout, blown early here in the first 2 minutes, is a factor at crunch time late in the game. 21-7 Fitch, 10:04 to play. Third quarter on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. First down handoff to J.D. Crabtree. Splits the line and goes the distance. 38 yards.
An incredible block inside. They go to that pistol formation, and Nate Devers and Ron Humphrey open up a whale of a hole for Crabtree to then burst through, basically untouched, and then put on the jets as he split defenders. And what a play. Now, looking back, how important is that play that Clark had to Huffman to bail the Tigers out on third down, long down and distance, and then the tremendous run by Crabtree.
Here's what I want to know. Why is Crabtree a fullback? Why had he only carried the ball one time before tonight? Extra point attempt is on the way and good. So, Massillon with two big plays right back in the ball game. 9:56 to go, third quarter. Fitch 21, Massillon 14. This is the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Well, Massillon stuck 3rd and 9 at its own 11, winds up finishing off a 90-yard, 5-play touchdown drive that used 1 minute and 57 seconds. J.D. Crabtree, who had carried the ball one time for 7 yards this season, goes 38 for the score. And that is your Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Haas Auto Group has a vehicle for every budget. See for yourself online at hausautogroup.com. Kickoff coming here from Andrew David. Here's the boot. Line drive, end over end. It will hit right at the goal line and bounce in. It was away from the primary receiver in that case, and that was Sam Orts, and now it will be the Falcons who will start from their own 20. Interestingly enough, in the first quarter, both teams started from their own 20 and scored on their first possession.
You know, I give a lot of kudos to Coach Jason Hall to come out. They don't abandon the running game. They run, basically, besides the play to Huffman, they just try and mash it up the middle. Get stopped a couple times, but then goes right back to Crabtree. Believing in their running game, believing that Crabtree and Wilson will get them with that offensive line, will create space. And you keep banging away at the door, eventually it's going to open, and they got it open.
Fitch takes the field with 3 receivers left. The ball in the middle of the field, so there's really no short side. A mix-up on the snap. Harris was under center and picked up a couple, and we've got a Fitch player down with his heels on the 25-yard line.
Yeah, it's Joey Harrington, guys. He's down. Looks like a cramp, but I'll keep an eye on it.
All right, the pickup was 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 when they get this situation cleared away. Tonight's Fitch football broadcast is presented by Diamond 9 Development. The dugout at Diamond 9 has all the gear you'll need, stocking Under Armour, DeMarini, and more. Diamond 9 is the official sponsor of Fitch Falcons football here on 570 WKBN.
And Jim, that penetration of the Tiger defense is really causing, and I've been noticing since the first half, a lot of hesitation in Darren Hall. He just doesn't seem to be able to get that head of steam up towards that line of scrimmage. He's really searching for those holes where the Falcons have really had the most success, besides the little swing pass to Harrington, has been the running of the quarterback, Antoine Harris, off that read option.
Now I have Darren Hall for just 17 yards on 11 carries tonight. Harris 97 yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries.
You know what, guys, we mentioned earlier, at least I did in the pregame, about Fitch and Massillon. The loser of this will not have a chance to gain revenge in the playoffs like they've had in years past. As a matter of fact, up until this year, because Massillon is Division II this year, so Fitch and Massillon will not meet in the playoffs. And both of them come in at 6-0. And guys, whoever wins this game, I'm not saying it's a ticket punch to the playoffs, but it sure is going to go a long way of getting you into the playoffs themselves.
Well, I think it goes without saying, Jim. You're punching a ticket. I mean, you're basically punching a home ticket. The winner of this will basically punch a home ticket for the playoffs.
Sideline reports, as always, presented by Armstrong. Armstrong On Demand, Armstrong Zoom, and Armstrong Phone. Armstrong One Wire, infinite possibilities. Harrington walking off under his own power. Quick slant, caught at the 30 and out to the 33-yard line. On the receiving end with Harrington out of the lineup for the Falcons, Carell Johnson.
And we've seen that be successful. That quick hot pass from Antoine Harris basically to the inside slot receiver. They're playing off the aggressiveness of the inside linebackers out of this 4-3 defense that are really crowding that middle, setting up that inside seam.
11-yard pickup, first down Fitch at its own 33-yard line. Snap, Harris started left like he wanted to hand it off, takes off up the middle, drags guys with him. Good burst and good power out to the 44. Another 11-yard pickup and another Fitch first down.
Boy, there's barely the fake off that read option to Hall. Basically just gives a token, basically handoff to Hall, and then just really went behind his center. Tremendous blocking by the senior Chuck Zaborski.
Fitch moving right to left here in the third quarter. That's away from the scoreboard as the press box is on the visitor's side. All the Massillon fans below us, and they traveled with a bunch. Hall gets the handoff, breaks a tackle behind the line of scrimmage at the 40, and then works his way up the near sideline until being pushed into the Massillon bench at about the 47.
And that's the special thing, the other special thing about Darren Hall. Even though the Tigers have pretty much followed him up pretty well tonight, he showed the quickness to bounce to the edge, but then just showed the drive. Just put his helmet down and drove his helmet right into basically the shoulder passers of the cornerback Reggie Rogers and drove for an extra 2 before he went out of bounds.
6'1", 203, gained 11 pounds in the offseason before this his junior year. So he's got a big senior year ahead of him, we think. There's the fake to Hall, give to Harris, breaks a tackle behind the line of scrimmage and fights his way maybe for a 1-yard gain to the 48 as the Massillon defense is swarming now to Antoine Harris.
And a young man that's basically played a super game tonight for the Tiger contingent, and that's Devin Ingram, at 5'10", 205, a real bowling ball of a man. Shows good awareness and got to the ball.
A lot of noise below us from the Massillon fans. Fitch is 3rd and 6 at its own 48. 8:09 to go, third quarter, 21-14. Falcons. Harris alone in the backfield. Drops, curls to the right, wants to throw, steps up, caught from behind and brought down at the 49-yard line by sophomore defensive tackle Donnie Heather.
Yeah, Donnie Heather, we talked about them earlier on. There are 2 sophomore defensive tackles in Dakota Dunwitty and Donnie Heather. Sophomores up front, very good size.
Nick Shealy will punt it away. 1 punt tonight so far for Shealy, 36 yards. And he, on the season, averages about 35.5. So he is right on the money. Snap about knee-high. Good high spiral. This is a terrific kick. Fair catch called for and made back around the 11-yard line. Switch of field position again. Massillon gets it back, trailing 21-14 here on the Bear Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Quick toss, and then they get it to J.D. Crabtree, and he gets out to the 14. Fitch not much fooled by that play.
Yeah, and a super excellent open field tackle that time by Rodney Smith, who was earlier beaten on a play by Bo Huffman.
Now, Massillon, well, it looked like they were going to go hurry up, but no, they just get back to the line of scrimmage and then check the sideline for the hand signals to get the play in. Down to the 6:40 mark here in the third quarter. Massillon scored breaking out from its own 11 on its last possession. Clark going to air it up deep down the left side. Ball up in the air. May have been tipped by Rogers, trying to keep it away from the defender, who also got a hand on it. Again, that was Carell Johnson, who claps his hands in delight.
And they ran twin go routes on each side. They ran Huffman down one side and Rogers down the other. Correll Johnson, after getting beat earlier in the first quarter, has really played yeoman-like at that cornerback position, staying deep, staying right on his man like Elmer's glue.
Wow, yeah, he is practically inside the jersey. It is 3rd and 7 now for the Tigers at their own 14-yard line.
Weren't able to stop them on 3rd and long last time.
Flank left, wing left, split right. Clark looks left all the way. Pressure comes, heads up the middle, but not far. Down he goes. And Massillon will be forced to punt. Clark came in minus 30 in rushing. Obviously, that's sack yardage, and he takes some more.
A tremendous play that time by Brandon Emery, a senior subbing in for Wiedenthal. Great job to make the open field tackle, but they had Rogers on that intermediate slant route. It's a case where Clark just felt the pressure, tucked it in, and tried to turn up.
Andrew David with punts of 26 and 33 tonight will take the snap in his end zone. Takes it, rush coming, but he gets it away. Again, a very high punt coming up, signaling a fair catch, but letting it bounce because there was a lot of traffic, and giving up about 15 yards in the process was Correll Johnson. But Fitch still gets good field position at its own 40-yard line, and we'll keep it right here.
You know, Jim, and you mentioned that's the 3rd time we've seen Correll Johnson basically be positioned a little too deep. I mean, the Massillon punter has gotten off some decent punts, but they've had very good height. I think it's a case where Correll Johnson not realizing or adapting to the height that the punter for Massillon is doing, and he's staying back a little bit too far, causing him to really have to run up on those punts.
And David is averaging 40 yards a punt. He hasn't really come close to that tonight, although that was 37. But yeah, he gives his team a great chance to cover. So I would guess his net punting yardage is mighty good. Fitch from its 40. Harris takes a little bit of a high snap, hands it to Hall, who spins out of contact in the backfield and manages just barely to get the nose of the ball back to the line of scrimmage.
Boy, and it looked like Malik Dudley. He basically could have taken the handoff almost. He's got such good penetration upfield, and the Tigers have done a super job of really playing lockdown defense on Darren Hall, not allowing really to give him any type of space. Their best thing has been on the inside screens, those quick little real slant routes, and then obviously the running of Harris.
A little bit of a loss there, 2nd and almost 11. Harris alone in the backfield. He'll roll to the left. Pressure comes, throws, got his man caught short of midfield, hit immediately, and a big hit it was. The receiver on the play,
Eric Jackson,
for the Falcons, Eric Jackson, and that is just actually that's his first catch of the year. He had one carry.
Yeah, he had subbed in earlier for Joey Harrington when he had gotten the cramp and went out of the game, but comes up with a real clutch catch to get him in 3rd and manageable.
3rd and 2 after the 8-yard, actually 9-yard pickup. Ball at the 48-yard line. Antoine Harris looking to the sideline for the play. He's got Darren Hall to his right, takes the snap, fakes left, gives it to Hall, who slams his way through the left side of the line and with sheer will crosses midfield and gets the first down for the Falcons.
Yeah, it looked like the Tigers were going to meet him in the backfield, but then one of the defenders, namely Danny Robinson, an underclassman, someone else that will be coming back next year for Coach Hall.
First down at the Massillon 49. 4 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. Falcons up by a touchdown. Fake to Hall left. Harris keeps it, runs right inside the 45, down near the 43-yard line. Tonight's high school football broadcast here on 570 WKBN is being brought to you in part by Inner Circle Pizza, the Fitch Boosters, Rachel's Restaurant and Catering, Quality Pet Market, Coke Construction, Austintown Bounce, the legal team of Beatrice Kopp and Harshman, and Stadium GM Superstore. Pick up at 6, 2nd and 4, straight ahead handoff. Hall breaks an arm tackle, gets it down to the 40. It'll be 3rd and short.
Boy, and I got to tell you, Antoine Harris, for a quarterback, really takes a tremendous amount of punishment during a game from what we've seen. His running, that's a young man, when he turns it upfield, really is not shy about going for contact.
3rd down and 1. The Falcons with the ball in the middle of the field at the Massillon 40. with 3:04 to play in the third quarter. Falcons lead it 21-14. They were up 21-7 at halftime. Harris with Paul to his left takes the snap. They do a little scissors move in the backfield. Harris is hit at the 40, tries to go forward, but stumbles back and will not get the first down.
Yeah, again, the play of Danny Robinson making the play for the Massillon Tigers. Now you're going to get an interesting call for Coach Annarella in Tiger territory. Do you elect to punt it out of here and just play for your defense that's been so stalwart all season? Or do you go for it and give Massillon the potential to take good field position?
They're going to punt it away. Punting unit is in.
And, you know, I think that's the right call. I mean, you've relied on your defense. You felt they've been special. They're a team that's made numerous stops throughout this season, regardless of who they play. It's probably the best call.
All right, Shealy here, not looking for distance. He's looking for placement. Gets it away, high and short. It'll hit behind the receiver, but take a Fitch bounce, take a right turn, and go out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Massillon gets it back again, deep in its own territory. 1:59 to go, third quarter, 21-7 Fitch on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Massillon from the 4-yard line, a running play designed to go up the middle, bounces outside to the right. Again, it is J.D. Crabtree, and he is hit hard and rocked to the ground at the 6-yard line. And even when Fitch doesn't have anybody near where the ball is going, they get there in a hurry.
Yeah, and you're right. It's that closing speed, their ability to close holes that look like they're open, that space, that time that it gets where they see the hole to the Falcon defenders close in.
2nd and 8 for Massillon at its own 6. Clark alone in the backfield. 2 receivers to his left. Going to hand it off. And again, virtually no yardage. Now will they throw deep?
Brandon Emery, again, at the inside linebacker position, really filling that hole. A young man, a senior at 5'10", 200 pounds, really getting in there, getting his head and his shoulder pads really square with that line of scrimmage and driving through.
3rd and 7 at the 7. The DeBartolo Corporation Scholar Athlete of the Week is Boardman's Jenna Cusick. She has a perfect 4.0 GPA and is ranked number 1 in Boardman's senior class. Jenna is also a 4-year letter winner in soccer and is on her way to winning 4 letters in basketball as well. 3rd and long. Good throw by Clark, but high, intended for Rogers out around the 18-yard line. Goes off his fingertips, and Massillon will be forced to punt again.
And again, the Falcons really sold out that time. They haven't been playing coverage at all. They've been trusting that third level of defense to make plays in the secondary, Jim.
The A&M Total Restoration postgame report is coming up right after the game. A&M Total Restoration is the Valley's #1 restoration company. Call 330-507-6220. We have a player down in the end zone. Might be a good time to zoom down to Len on the sideline, who I think was trying to get in with us here a play or so ago.
Yeah, it's number 23 for the Falcons, Damian Gray. They're looking at his right knee, checking it out right now. Let's hope it's nothing over serious here for him. They're doing all the knee tests that they need to make.
The problem here, Len, is that Gray, who has played well since coming in, is the backup for Brett Weidenthal, who went out with a shoulder injury in the first half.
Right, I'll have to see who they replace him with. And you know what, guys, real quick, too, I can't underestimate enough, or overstate, I should say, how good Danny Clark is. You got to remember, this kid's a freshman. I mean, he is poised. He throws a great ball, makes great decisions. He's going to be unbelievable the next 3 years for the Massillon Tigers. And again, young man with some big size, 6'3", 200. He looks actually bigger than that. Jim, Mario?
All right, another Armstrong sideline report. We'll be selecting an O'Charlie's player of the game and interviewing him live on the field at our postgame show. That's made possible by O'Charlie's Restaurants in Boardman and Niles. So it is Andrew David deep in his own end zone to take the snap. It's a good one. Not much of a rush. A high, wobbly kick. Fair catch called for again, and this time made at the Massillon 40. So field position has turned for the Falcons.
Yeah, tremendous kicking tonight. The great height is David for the Massillon special teams, and we have just seen some tremendous kicking by both kickers tonight with height and depth on both sides. What tremendous advantage it is for high schools that have kickers as weapons like that.
You know, Denny's pregame segment tonight opening segment was about quarterbacks and could they play today, and they talked about how the game has changed. Think about the skill level at the kicking position and how it's changed over the years. Punting, a guy that averaged maybe 30 yards a punt, you were happy. You know, you didn't see a whole lot of field goals. Now, most teams, all the good ones, have good punters and good place kickers. A little bit of a high snap to Harris, hands it to Hall, pulls it back out, goes right up the hash mark, down to about the 26-yard line.
You know, Jim, in Denny's segment, I was thinking back as he was mentioning all those quarterbacks. I was wondering, what would the Roselle Richardsons or the from Warren Western Reserve or the Jimmy Vivos do in today's day and age where coaches actually let them chuck it?
Roselle Richardson, wow. This time Hall does get the handoff, gets a nice block as he goes to the corner on the right side and takes it down inside the 15-yard line. And now we have a late flag.
It's going to be a flagrant face mask call because Hall's headgear came flying off of him, and that was because it was pulled off, guys. So that'll be stepped off against the Tigers.
Back-to-back 13-yard gains, first down at the 14, and if you are right, Len, it will be half the distance to the goal, and the Falcons will be first and goal at the 7. And it also will give us one more play here in the third quarter, which has been brought to you in part by Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Baird Brothers, America's source for fine hardwood products since 1960. Online at BairdBrothers.com. It's going to go against the Falcons.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened there, but again, all I could see was Hall's face mask go up and the helmet come flying off, so I'm not exactly sure who committed that personal foul for the Falcons. My mistake.
So it puts the ball at the 29-yard line. So they did get the first down. Then they mark it off from there. So it is first and 10, not first and 25. But instead of having the ball at the 14 or closer, the ball is back at the 29-yard line. 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. And they will tick off here before Fitch runs another play. So Massillon wins the third quarter 7-0. But Fitch leads the total score. Falcons 21, Tigers 14 as we go to the fourth quarter of tonight's game of Titans in the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week.
TV from Armstrong has more possibilities than ever. Armstrong On Demand has thousands of titles, mostly free with your Television Plus subscription. Demand the latest Hollywood hits, often weeks before they arrive at rental kiosks. Play, pause, and record live TV with the PVR. Our multi-room PVR lets you record hundreds of hours of your favorite shows. And Armstrong HD is the most cost-effective high-definition solution for your home. Armstrong. One wire, infinite possibilities.
Getting ready for what we are sure will be a titanic fourth quarter of action here. Two undefeated football teams loaded with talented, physical, motivated football players, and they are leaving it all out on the turf here at Falcon Stadium in Austintown tonight. 21-14, Fitch going to the fourth quarter. Falcons first and 10 at the Massillon 29.
This, Jim, has been a very, very hard-hitting ball game. Probably the hardest-hitting game so far this year we've covered.
Man, I would say Harris takes the snap. Hall goes by. Harris looked to throw, then tucked it and ducked in behind the left side of the line for no gain. It'll be second and 10.
Falcons try to go to the quick passing game, but the awareness of Harris to realize the play was covered. Don't just throw it to throw it. Turn it upfield and battle another play. Don't get negative yardage.
All right. Both Austin Hogan and his backup, Eric Jackson, are in the ball game right now, but Jackson actually is replacing, I think, Joey Harrington. This is going to be a run by Harris. He's caught in the backfield and goes down at the 35.
Yeah, tremendous play that time by Malik Jackson, getting to the outside, an underclassman for the Tigers, getting to that edge and making the play to bring down Harris, holding on and then allowing more Tiger defenders to close in the play.
Mark it all the way back at the 36. So that's a 7-yard loss, and it is now 3rd and 17. not a good down and distance for the way this Fitch offense is built, because they do not have, at the moment, a great passing threat. Quick throw, almost picked off and not free. Well, that answers our question about Laron Wilson. He's playing defense, and he just took Eric Jackson right out from underneath the football with perfect timing.
And we saw on those quick screens, Falcons have basically run that play about 4 times. Twice they've had really good success. One time in the first quarter, Savio Isles almost took it to the house for a score for the Tigers. And that time, Laron Wilson basically just drove his head into the receiver to disjar it.
Nick Shealy, who last time he punted, put it down at the Massillon 4. Takes a low snap. Nice spiral. Fair catch called for. Again, they'll let it go. It's rolling slowly towards the goal line. Now back upfield. And again, it's down at the 4-yard line. Great job by Shealy. 10:28 left in the ball game. Massillon gets it 96 yards away from the tying score. 21-14 Fitch on 570 WKBN. So for the second consecutive possession, Massillon starts from its own 4-yard line. Fake handoff. Clark in the end zone to throw. He's hit. He breaks away. He's hit again. Ball is loose on the end line. That is going to be a safety. And again, the great pressure from Fitch and the freshman trying to keep the play alive goes down, but without the ball, and it is a safety.
Yeah, tremendous pressure as they've done all night. They're blitzing linebackers, really getting after it. The Massillon offensive line just hasn't been able. The Falcons are basically just sending more players than the Tigers can block. They're trying to overload with receivers to get people mismatches, but it's just the case Clark isn't making the read fast enough as fast as defenders are getting there. And what quickness do the Falcons bring to the table on defense, Jim?
All right, now that turns this into a 2-possession game. You say, well, it's a safety, so what? Now it's a 2-possession game. It's 9 points, and Massillon will be kicking the ball, a free kick to Fitch. So Fitch gets the 9-point lead and immediately gets the ball back.
Yeah, so they get the opportunity to grind some time and potentially put up another score up on the board.
Pizza Hut sponsors the 50-50 giveaway at 570 WKBN high school football local broadcast locations this season. Try the Pizza Hut $10 any dinner box. A pizza loaded with toppings plus breadsticks and cinnamon sticks, all for just $10.
The Tigers will have
All right, this will be a free kick. It'll come from the 20-yard line. At higher levels of football, they generally punt because, frankly, they can oftentimes get as much distance and better direction. Most of the time, as will be the case here, high school teams will kick it off.
But they've got a real weapon in Andrew David.
Although, keep in mind, a kick from here that would be a touchback will be at about the 20-yard line. And there is the boot. Man, it is a sidewinding line drive taken at the 15 up to the 25, 30, 35, and short of the 40-yard line, but a nice return nonetheless by Correll Johnson, who has been challenged by some interesting kicks. The kickoff was actually lower than most of David's punts.
Boy, and Javante Maskey for the Massillon Tigers as the wedge breaker, number 26, basically went down and blew up the entire pile for the Falcons. They are going to have the bevy of good field position here, but wow, the wedge breaker that he put on that play for the Tigers.
24-yard return. Fitch takes over at its own 39-yard line. 10-14 to play. Falcons are up by 9. And they will have Antoine Harris taking the pistol snap. And to his right is Darren Hall. There's the snap. There's the delayed give to Hall. Slants left and gets some running room in traffic across the 45 to the 46. 7-yard pickup on first down. Good job by the left side of the offensive line. Ryan Sayers, Matt Fusillo, and we got another player down. Looks like another cramp.
And this is unfortunate because this is Bob LaRubio, I believe, on the offensive line, and that's probably the one place that the Falcons can least have injuries. They have, over the years, of us being able to cover Falcon football, they've been able to withstand everything outside of the box, basically. The offensive line, that's where it hurts the worst.
They actually have 2 players down right now, Len.
Yeah, and both of them have cramps. So it looks like, obviously, they're both going to be up and ready to go here at some point. But
well, here's the problem. LaRubio's backup, Rahman Rafiq, had an ankle problem this week. I'm not sure he's available. He is leaving, LaRubio's leaving under his own power. Darren Hall is the other player who got up slowly. They'll both have to miss a play. LaRubio is listed as the backup left tackle. So the question is, who now goes in at tackle if Rafiq is not available?
Yeah, and that's what I said. They really seem, they just don't have the bevy of, they have depth basically at all positions on the team that are interchangeable, except for that offensive line. That is a real weak spot probably in the Falcon program, if there's any one to speak of at this stage of the game in filling Arena's tenure.
All right, here we go in 2nd and 3. Tyler Hewitt in at running back. He gets the handoff, circles left, gets to the corner. He's into Massillon territory and bulldog down inside the 45-yard line. Tyler Hewitt, a 165-pound junior who averages almost 7 yards a carry.
And in the time that we've seen Tyler Hewitt in the other previous games that he's gone in for Darren Hall, there's really been no drop-off. His ability to really bounce to that edge, have good speed, and then just puts his head down, much like Hall does, and delivers blows as much as he takes them.
Not as big, but he's another one of those quick.
And guys, the new tackle's Drake Marinelli. For what it's worth, he's a senior.
Wow, there's a bad snap. And a little low, and Harris couldn't handle it. And he was on one knee when he grabbed it, so he was whistled down immediately at the 50, a loss of 6, so it's 2nd and 16. And these are the kind of mistakes that Coach Anarella talked about in his pregame show the last couple of games. He said they're mental mistakes, and we just cannot make them.
Yeah, he was very upset, even though they had 2 shutouts back-to-back in Boardman and East.
From the 50. Good snap this time. Handoff. This is that Hall back in the game or Hewitt? Hewitt. And he pounds it back to the 45-yard line. Yep, number 31 getting up off the bottom of the pile. So he gets 5 of the 6 back, and it'll be 3rd and 11.
LaRubio just came back in for Marinelli at left tackle.
All right. It is 3rd and 11 from the 45. This is looking a little bit like the last possession. Clock is working against Massillon, though. It's a 2-possession game, and we're down to 8:20 to play with Fitch leading 23-14. Hewlett in motion in front of Harris. Fake to Hewlett. Harris takes off left. Stutter step, gets to the outside. Penalty marker flies. It'll be 1st down if the penalty is not against Fitch. The gain was to the 32.
Yeah, it looks like
it's going to be a holding call on the Falcons.
Yeah, very important for the Falcon contingent. The Tigers who came here in droves here to Falcon Stadium, really supporting the call, though.
And the penalty takes the ball back to the 49-yard line of Massillon. So it is 3rd and 15 now.
Yeah, Harris has been quite the weapon on offense. Hall has not re-entered the game. Hewlett is still in at that running back position for the Falcons.
Darren Hall still trying to loosen up that cramp in his calf, has not returned to the lineup yet. So hopefully he'll get back in there. He's walking behind the players on the bench and, again, stretching it as much as he can.
Harris will be credited with 6 yards rushing on that play. Takes the snap. Fakes to Hewlett, heads straight up behind the left side of the line and plows down to the 40. That'll be short of a 1st down.
Yeah, his commitment when he makes the decision to get up in there and hit up into the hole, wow, what a weapon he is.
They'll make it the 41, so it's an 8-yard pickup. It will be 4th down, and Sheely will come out for the 3rd time, try to bury Massillon deep in its own territory.
Yeah, and Coach Anarella just in the 3rd quarter had this exact same decision, except it was a lot shorter down in distance. He put it in Sheely's hands, who has just been awesome tonight.
Put it in on the last possession, and it led to the safety. 2 punts in a row that have been downed at the 4. Rogers this time makes the catch. He's hit. I didn't see him called for the fair catch, but I was watching the ball. So he took it at the 5, which is just what they wanted, but Fitch is going to be called for running into the receiver, and while they sort it out with 7:22 to go, timeout on the field, Fitch leads it 23-14 on the Baird Brothers High School football game of the week. Well, the officials still haven't marked off this penalty. They're talking to Ryan Sayers of the Falcons. They're also talking to Jason Hall, but the penalty should move the ball out to the 20 or 25-yard line, actually. Yep. Nope, the 20. Oh, that's right, because he was at the 5. Correct. So.
Well, and Coach Annarella was pleading his case, and he's a pretty good pleader, if you ask me, but this time it didn't work.
Now, the key in this for the Falcon defense, and they haven't given it up since the first quarter, you don't want to give up the big play.
All right, so Massillon from the 20, quick handoff. They've got LaRon Wilson back in the game. Penalty against Massillon. The Tigers will give 5 yards back on an illegal procedure penalty. Nightline embroidery and screen print for uniforms, team and corporate apparel, spirit wear, banners and signs. Call 545-8108 or visit Nightline on West Liberty Street in Girard to find out how they can help you stand out.
I mean, I know it's going to sound a little bit like Captain Obvious, but I mean, obviously time is definitely on the side of the Falcons. And what I meant, you just don't want to give up the big play. If the Tigers go down and get a score, make them earn it grinding a bunch of time.
Wilson from a slot left, in motion right, throw over the middle, too hard, too high for the intended receiver. That was Bo Huffman, the big tight end.
Yeah, you have to wonder if the pressure, not the mental pressure, but if the pressure that the Falcons have done physically with getting at the knees, getting at the legs, getting near the quarterback Clark, obviously it appeared that affected that throw, throwing high and in front of a wide open Huffman on a slant route.
Well, their coach said in his pregame remarks they weren't worried about Clark in a big game. They've played in front of big crowds in big games this year before. He is pressured again, tries to break free, crashes down at the 15. It'll be 3rd and 15 coming up.
Pressure by Benihana, the nose tackle in this 3-5 defense, and again, the crashing in of that defensive line, woefully undersized up there comparatively to that Tiger offensive line, but they have done their best job to get in and get a lot of pressure with the aid of that second level of defense from the Falcons.
The biggest guy up front is 210, and these offensive linemen all go in the 260 to 280 range. 3rd and 15 for Massillon.
You never know where these linebackers are coming from either.
2 receivers to each side. Clark looks right. He's forced to scramble. The Falcons have got him inside the 10-yard line.
Wow, some early candidates for O'Charlie's player of the game. A young man with the pressure, Sam Orts. He, along with Shealy, have played an incredible game tonight. Time after time, this Falcon defense having to be called on to make a play to stymie the Tiger offense.
And guys, Danny Clark is being helped off the near sideline toward you by one of his offensive linemen. He's putting very little weight on his right leg.
Yep, and now he's hopping as though it's actually his left leg. Another punt out of the end zone coming up from Andrew David. Boots it away, again very high, got the point up this time. Fair catch called for, but the punt is way short. Bounces short of the 40 and will be downed at the Massillon 37. Great field position for the Falcons again. Maybe they can clinch it here with 5:39 left, leading 23-14 on the Baird Brothers High School football game of the week. Only a 28-yard punt. Fitch starts from the Massillon 36. Darren Hall back in the game, gets the football, starts left, cuts back to the right, and he's free. He's at the 20, 15, 10, trying to evade a tackler, breaks through, but his momentum carries him out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. And that was Reggie Rogers playing defense, and a very frustrated Rogers by body language. Darren Hall coming off of that cramp looked pretty good. And during the timeout, Len said something that's obvious to us, too, since they're right below us. Something you don't see. Massillon fans leaving early.
You know, about the only thing Darren Hall did wrong on that, went out of bounds.
Yep. First down at the 4. This time it's Harris trying to fight his way to the goal line. He'll be stopped just short.
Inside run, Hall again leads at the blocking, and it's unfortunate on the beautiful cutback probably Hall's best run of the evening, that he actually had space to try and find some. Now, the only thing about Antoine Harris, and Len, you're down there a lot closer to the action than I am. It really appears, and I'm surprised he hasn't turned it over more, it appears that Antoine Harris really carries that ball out in the open quite a bit as he goes in for contact.
It'll be 2nd and goal at the 1. 4:50 to play. Gabe Chepke in at quarterback. He keeps the ball off a fake to Hall and gets the touchdown. The senior comes in. He's
That's actually Antoine Harris, Jim.
Was it? It looked like 10 to me.
No, it was 18.
Oh, okay. My apologies, but I thought for sure it was number 10, but Harris works his way in behind the right side of the line. Yep, there he is. He had that number scrunched up. Touchdown Fitch, now up by 15 with less than 5 minutes to play.
And could that be the score that gets them enough distance away from this Massillon Tiger team?
Art move here, kicking an extra point, too.
All right, that is good. And with 4:45 to play, Fitch now leads Massillon 30-14 on the Baird Brothers High School Football Game of the Week. Nick Shealy's driving end-over-end kickoff will be taken in the end zone by Reggie Rogers, who again despondently drops the ball at the 5, and Massillon will start from its own 20-yard line one more time. See video of the Home Savings High School Football Team of the Week Award online at 570WKBN.com. Presented by Home Savings, where you can still get free checking and purchase rewards.
You know what? An emphatic Phil Annarella out on the field telling his defense, don't let up, don't let up. Even more so than I was saying it, guys.
You're still in a 2-possession game. I mean, a quick score and an onside kick. I mean, you give him a life. Wow.
2 two-point conversions. Clark is back in. He finds Rogers out on the left flat, breaks a tackle on the sideline, and now he's free. He's at the Fitch 40, and he will go the distance if he doesn't step out of bounds, and he did. Turned a short pass into a big touchdown play.
And that's exactly what you didn't want to give up, this big play. The Falcons in an all-out blitz basically sent about 8 guys attacking that line of scrimmage. And if Carell Johnson, they leave him man-to-man out on the edge against Rogers, and Rogers showing that skill set to make a play out in space, and then the Jets to get downfield. A wonderful play by the Tigers, really, and the offensive line finally given just enough Mississippi time for that offensive line to protect Danny Clark.
All right, now Massillon's in a situation here. They were down 16, so 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions were needed. So this isn't a case where they're chasing a missed extra point. This is a necessity to go for 2. Low snap to Clark. Short drop, quick slant, good. Made it look easy there as he found Whitfield, but we're going to have an illegal procedure penalty against the Tigers, and they'll have to do it again from 5 yards farther out.
Yeah, what happened, guys, the motion man took off about 2 steps quicker than the snap of the ball. So they'll move it back now to the 8-yard line. They'll try it again.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. You wanted to make them earn it and come down the field. To give up the big play really gives all that momentum back to the Tigers. It gets them back in a possession where you're still in a one-possession game if they can get this 2-point conversion. So the exact thing you didn't want to happen, happened.
Yeah, and you have to give Rogers credit there because Fitch had him, and he just broke a tackle and took off, and Fitch couldn't catch him. They're going to try for 2 again. Going to try to run the same thing. Clark in trouble, and he will go down, and it will remain a 2-possession game.
Big pressure up front by Razaporian, Cameron Razaporian, and then finishing it off is Ryan Sayers, who's also had an incredible game tonight from his defensive end position.
So it remains 30-20. Let's give you a 2-for-1 here on our Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. On the previous score by Fitch, the Falcons went 36 yards in 3 plays and used 54 seconds. A 1-yard run by Antoine Harris got him into the end zone. It was a 32-yard run by Darren Hall that set it up. And then Massillon comes back, and on its first play, a short pass completion to Reggie Rogers turns into an 80-yard touchdown play. 2-point conversion that was good, wiped out by a penalty, and the retry fails, leaving Massillon down by 10, 30-20 with 4.5 minutes to play. The question now is, because it is remains a two-possession game, is it time for an onside kick?
I'm going to say no, Jim. I'm going to say that they're not going to do it here. Now, remember, earlier in the third quarter, basically at the third or fourth play, Massillon Tigers burned up one of their timeouts, so they only have the bevy of 2 timeouts left in their arsenal. I would be really surprised here with 4:30 if they elect to go for the onside kick. I would be surprised.
Andrew David is their kicker.
I would not.
They are not in an typical onside kick formation. Fitch has 2 players deep. They have a typical receiving formation at the moment. Fairly typical. And it is kicked away. End over end, and it will make it well into the end zone, and the Falcons will start from their own 20 with 4.5 minutes to play, leading by 10.
Yeah, no, I think that's the really sound decision. I thought it would have been grasping, really, to go for the try and get the onside kick at that point. But now it puts it squarely. The Falcon defense has played tremendous all night, except for that couple of big plays that has really kept Massillon in this offensively. Now they're going to have to rely on that offense to grind away a couple of first downs. I mean, 2 first downs basically puts this in a really tough spot for the Tigers.
By the way, I mentioned that twofer on those scoring drives from the Haas Auto Group. Forgot to tell you a little bit more about our friends, Chris and the group out there. The Haas Auto Group has a vehicle for every budget. You can see for yourself online at hausautogroup.com. Antoine Harris takes the snap, gives it to Darren Hall, met in the backfield and dropped for a loss. That's the same play that Hall did the cutback on and put him on the front porch for their last score. And Massillon again clogged it up, and this time Hall had no cutback.
Yeah, J.D. Crabtree played a decent game tonight at the running back position, subbing in for LaRon Wilson, who's basically just gone to the defensive side, really got upfield and made the play deep in the backfield.
Loss of about almost 4, so we'll call it 2nd and 14 for the Falcons.
And I imagine the Falcons are going to be much more deliberate, waiting for that back judge to lift his hand.
Harris takes the snap, fakes it to Hall. Nope, he did give it to Hall, and Hall escapes a trap in the backfield and lurches out to the 19, where it will be 3rd and 11, and Massillon right now is going to use one of those 2 timeouts.
Yeah, and you know what? That's my mistake here at Falcon Stadium. They do have the play clock here so that the quarterbacks on both sides are able to see the numbers going down. That time they actually waited till 4 seconds, but it looks like Coach Jason Hall is going to make his stand right here, trying to conserve as much time as he can for his offense.
Well, here in the second half, Fitch has not had much success in converting 3rd and long situations, and again, it is not an offense right now that is designed to do that. They can hurt you with the short pass play, but they really do not show the propensity. Most of the time they don't show the need, so they don't show the propensity. The question is, if they have to, can they stretch the field with the passing game? And I would say, headed for the playoffs, that would be, in my mind, the biggest question mark hanging over Fitch, because you're ultimately going to run into some folks who can score quickly, regardless of how good your defense is, and you better be able to come right back. All right, Harris going to keep it and run left. Got a little seam, almost leaps over a tackler, but gets nicked in the lower body and goes down maybe a half-yard short of the first down. Wow, what an effort.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine Coach Iannarella, Coach Jason Hall not going to call his final timeouts. The Tigers have 1 left in their pocket, and I imagine Coach Iannarella, based on the way that Shealy's been kicking, I couldn't imagine they're going to go.
Oh, man. Maybe they're going to try and draw him offside. It's 4th and 1. Fitch now looks to the bench. You got 9 on the play clock. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Other than just burning the time, why not try to draw him offside? But they didn't. It stops the clock with exactly 3 minutes to play. And Fitch up by 10. This is every bit the kind of football game we would have expected from these two teams tonight.
You're right, Jim. And this is what the Falcons are going to run into as they try and get ready for Division I in the northern half of the region. I mean, you're going to run into teams that are this talented, this good, that are going to have the size and the speed, that are able to capability and match up with you. So it's a very good test for the Falcons if they can get out of this.
We saw St. Ed's last Saturday, and that's a monster. We know how good St. Ignatius always is, and there are some teams ranked in front of them in the computer. So, all right. So Sheely now will be able to let it fly a little bit. He's done a great job placing the football the last 3 times he's kicked. Snap is perfect. Kick, kind of a line drive spiral. Whitfield lets it hit and roll, and it goes out of bounds on the far side of the field inside the Massillon 30. That low kick skipped off the turf and got away from Whitfield before he could do anything about it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it actually touched Whitfield at about the 35-yard line.
I thought it might have.
It did. It touched his thigh. He bounced up, gave a tricky little bounce, hit him, and then he arduously pursued it to get out at about the 28-yard line. So now, as much as we've said it earlier, the Falcons have to make the Tigers drive. If you can get the stop, great. If not, you have to make them drive. You cannot give up the big play and let them just get scores without a lot of time going off the clock. It's imperative.
43-yard punt, no return. What a night Nick Sheely has had. Good grief. First down, Massillon from its own 28, trailing by 10 with 2:52 to play. Freshman quarterback Clark pump fakes, goes deep for Rogers, over the shoulder catch, and he'll take it to payday. Perfect throw.
I mean, it's unbelievable. They don't get any pressure on Clark. They allow him to throw a perfect lob, and you can see the incredible skill set that Rogers brings to the table. His speed, his size, his ability to get separation. When he literally, they're running step for step at about the 40 and just pulls away. Tremendous separation from Rogers. And what plays back-to-back to come up with hardly any time coming up off the clock.
Yeah, they used 11 seconds last time. Now, because an extra point would bring them within 3, they don't have to worry about going for 2, and they won't. Andrew David is on to attempt the kick conversion.
How big is that safety now?
Yeah, you're right. There's the conversion, and it's good. 2:41 left, and the Tigers are within a field goal. Now is it onside kick time?
And I'm still going to say no. I think with the way that the Falcon offense, it seems like the Tigers have really figured out this Falcon offense and the running of Harris, and they only have 1 timeout left. I would be stunned, again, if they go for the onside kick. Put your defense out there. You've got the 1 timeout left. You're going to let the first 2 plays go, and on 3rd down, if you can get the stop, you're going to call that timeout. You basically get the ball with maybe about a minute to 50 seconds left for your offense. So I think it's a perfect place for them.
And so Fitch better have a play here that will get him at least 1 first down. That was a 1-play, 72-yard scoring, not even a drive, an explosion. And Clark can really air it out. They can stretch the field, and Rogers for sure is the kind of receiver that can get it done, because as you say, he can get separation. That's your Haas Auto Group scoring drive summary. Haas Auto Group includes a state-of-the-art service department located on Route 224 between Tippecanoe Road and Route 11.
You know the thing I like about Clark so much? He puts so much loft under the ball. He really gives his receivers, I mean, you have to have tremendous arm strength to throw it with that much loft with the depth to allow your receivers to get separation to run underneath them.
If this kid stays healthy, not only is he going to be a high school legend in a legendary place, he may get Massillon their first ever on-field championship, but you're going to see him in the national spotlight for many years. This is a short kickoff, strangely, taken at the 15 and then running into his own blockers and going down at the 25. And that was Joey Harrington, who was back in the ball game. He actually ran into his own blockers. He was a little, just slightly impatient, I guess.
Now you really have to hope that the Falcons can wake up get out of this little funk that they're in and be able to get some type of first down. You definitely need one, but, I mean, two kind of seals the deal for them, but now it becomes critical, and I imagine they're just going to put the ball in the hands of Antoine Harris 3 straight runs in his repertoire and just let him try and get a first down.
Well, and the thing is, that's probably what Massillon will be looking for. So it's all about execution here.
It's will at this point. And your offensive line, when you have to get a first down, and this is one of those, you have to get a first down.
Harris to Hall to Harris's right. Will take a fake, and Harris will be pulled down in the backfield at the line of scrimmage. Actually, he loses 4 at the 20.
And that's what happens when you're that one-dimensional. When a team has the strength and the size to match up with you very well, as the Tigers do. J.D. Crabtree, who's played a tremendous game defensively tonight, just got upfield penetration. And they're not really falling for Hall, who they've had stymied. It's locking down on Harris.
O'Charlie's Restaurants in Boardman and Niles present the O'Charlie's Player of the Game Award. Find out who it is and hear him interviewed live on the field in our post-game show. And Fitch will take a penalty here unless they call the timeout.
Right at the last second.
Falcons will get the timeout with 1:56 to play in a 2nd and 14 at their own 20.
You know, it has the feeling, obviously Uncle Bo has really switched sides of the table, but, I mean, the Falcons seem very discombobulated at this point. I mean, it seems like they're playing almost in a little bit of a cloud.
Well, they were a very confident football team for most of this game tonight and played that way, but the last 2 possessions has taken a little air out of their balloon right now with 1:56 left, hanging on to a 30-27 lead. I would imagine some of the Massillon fans who are leaving have changed their minds. There's some gathered along the fence down to our left. Many others may be in the parking lot listening.
Well, the good thing is they probably got us on iHeart.
Yeah, and you know what?
Because a lot of
Fitch fans apparently thought this thing was locked up because there are a lot of empty pockets in the home stands, which were pretty well filled here tonight. So fans that left early, never go until it's over. It ain't over till it's over. Harris wants to throw, ducks under a rusher, and then manages to fight his way back to the 20, and it'll be 3rd and 14.
Did Coach Hall call his last timeout?
Yep, did it in a hurry. 1:50 left.
Yeah, and they're going to make their stand right here. 3rd down. I imagine Falcons going to run.
And remember, too, guys, don't underestimate Andrew David. He could kick from about 50 yards, so all they need to do is get about around in between the 40 and 35, and, he's a weapon.
Nonetheless, we will also remind fans that David had a 45-yarder blocked at the end of the first half and has hit only 1 now of 7 field goal attempts this year. So is that a true measure of him as a field goal kicker, or do the odds say he's due to make one? I don't know, but if that situation comes up, what we are at is facing overtime our 2nd week in a row.
Yeah, it could be. You never know. But, I mean, the Falcons, for the unit that they've relied on mostly throughout this year, that defense, it looks like they're going to be put to their sternest test.
3rd and 15. Harris in an empty set backfield from his own 19. Will run left, run into some blockers and some traffic, and take it out across the 20 to the 23, and now they'll put it in Nick Shealy's hands.
And that could be officials. Did Harris get hurt?
Oh, that's the last thing you need because the clock keeps running if he isn't hurt. Harris needs to crawl off the field. This is costing him 20 seconds. This may be the difference in the ballgame.
He's down on the ground. They're looking at his right knee, Antoine Harris.
Well, there are a lot of reasons, obviously, that you don't want a player to be hurt, but
the play clock will start, though. I mean, the time will run again.
It also gives Massillon a chance to get itself organized. Looked like a game maybe to the 22.
And I guess even more importantly is looking ahead as this moves forward, because either way at this point it looks like whether the Falcons end up scraping out this victory or not, they're going to be a playoff team. What you don't want is have to go into the playoffs without your weapon in Antoine Harris.
Yeah, up next for the Falcons, Marion Harding, another home game. That's a Saturday afternoon game next week for the Falcons. It'll be senior day. And then they finish on the road against Uniontown Lake, an old Federal League opponent. And then they go to YSU to play Cardinal Mooney.
So yeah, they've got a pretty daunting schedule, especially the last two of the three look to be very difficult games for the Falcons.
And Mooney was winning at halftime up at Erie McDowell tonight. So if the Cardinals can make a little run to the finish, that could be a game with huge playoff implications.
Jim, that's 17-0 Mooney in the fourth quarter.
Excellent.
And Antoine Harris walking off the field, and, man, really emotional. I'm telling you, he's letting all the emotion out here. He does not want to come off the field, and it's just a shame to see this young man's face right now. But
well, it's here's the thing. He's got to come off the field. So the good news would be if he didn't want to come off the field because Fitch had a first down. But right now they're giving up the ball. Nick Shealy, who has had an awesome night, whether he's kicking for distance or he's kicking for placement, needs a dandy here. He'll take the snap back around his 10. The clock has started. Play clock. They're going to let that run. That's down to 14. About 10 seconds ahead of the game clock, which is now down to 1:18.
All right, here's what's going to happen. Coach Annarella's going to call another timeout, his last one with 1 second to go, and they're going to talk about this punt again.
There it is.
Because it looked like Massillon was coming up to try really with a punt block with 10 guys up on the line.
Okay, the Falcons burn their last timeout. It stops the clock with 1:12 to play. And in a punting situation deep in their own territory, but a pretty reliable guy to help get the job done. For a total recap of tonight's action, listen to the A&M Total Restoration postgame report. A&M Total Restoration for commercial, residential, or industrial projects, 330-507-6220.
And now they're talking up to the booth to tell them how much time to put back on the clock, it looks like.
Well, there was...
they're adjusting the time.
I think at the most, they're doing 2. I was going to say at the most it'll be 3. So they've corrected the clock. 1:14 remaining in the game. Fitch will be trying to punt it out and then trying to avoid getting hammered by one more big play. As Massillon has hit a short pass, catch, broken tackle, long run touchdown, and then just a fly pattern down the left sideline for another quick score. All right, here we go.
This may be the biggest punt in Nick Shealy's career.
Everybody up for Massillon. Fitch holds. Shealy gets off a good punt. Fair catch called for, dropped. Whitfield picked it up, cannot run, although he wanted to. And Massillon will start around its own 36 yard line.
Now, let's remember, the other thing about this is Massillon has been in a tough game. They had a triple overtime game with Glen Oak in week 2. The Falcons have basically not been in a game that matters. They've been playing from ahead the whole time. So Massillon has been in this situation where they've been able to adapt and win in a close game. Can the Falcons show the same aptitude to win in a tight game?
43-yard punt with no return. Clark takes the snap, looks right, throws right. Huffman's got it, reaching up and making the catch at the 45 and taking it to midfield.
Yeah, I thought Huffman was going to be a big player in this game, and he has proved out to be. Had a 51-yard catch on 3rd and long, comes up with a big play on 1st down to keep that Tiger offense moving.
At the Fitch, 49. Clock running, 57 seconds to play. Clark with the snap, plenty of time, throws deep down the far sideline and too deep. Overthrew his receiver running in a sprint down the sideline. 2 Fitch defenders back there. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 Massillon at the Fitch 49. 50 seconds to play. Fitch leads by 3.
Yeah, it got very good help on the top side by Gabe Chepke getting over there to give topside support. Now, the thing I'm really surprised at, Rogers is such a weapon. Throw him a screen pass and let that young man turn in some magic if you're the Massillon Tigers.
The freshman Danny Clark ready to take another snap. Does. Looks out into the left flat. He's got LaRon Wilson, who is bumped to the sideline, and they have stopped the clock out of bounds at the Fitch 41.
Use Rogers as the outside receiver to kind of clear out the area and then hit Wilson on a little bubble screen. He was basically a slot receiver, bubbled out, hoping that everyone would go with Rogers. They did, but they got him to the out.
3rd and 2 for Massillon at the Fitch 41. 44 seconds to play. Clark takes the snap, drops, throws right, got his man. Another leaping catch down around the Fitch 32. That was Whitfield.
And again, they've showed a propensity to really be able to catch the ball in traffic and in space with their hands. Tremendous receivers for the Massillon Tigers.
Now the officials stop the clock temporarily. Now they wind it with 38 seconds. Clark under center spikes the ball, and it will be 2nd down with 35 seconds to play.
And let's remember, I mean, it still appears as if Clark has a little bit of a hop in his giddy-up. I mean, I think that young man is still really playing on a little bit of a bum leg. Seems to be hobbling just a little bit, but what a gritty effort here in the 4th quarter by that young freshman.
It's just hard to imagine he's a freshman. It really
15
is.
years old, probably.
Takes the snap. Drops, has time, throws over the middle, got his man, it's Whitfield. He's hit at the 10 and pushed back. But Massillon is on the front door and is poised for a tremendous 4th quarter comeback.
I would watch the alley-oop to Rogers.
He's just going to spike it.
Yeah, but now you're going to run a play. Yeah, I mean, you have 23 seconds left. So if you take a couple shots to the end zone, Jim, and fans out there in Mahoning Valley, you basically have 2 opportunities to go to the end zone with plenty of time and still, basically still have time to get Andrew David on the field.
Guys, there was too many men on the field for the Falcons, so it's going to be 5 yards closer for Massillon.
And they don't lose a down. It's 1st and goal at the 5.
I bet they're either going to run that screen pass to Wilson or just try and alley-oop it up to Rogers.
Oh, my. Fitch looked like it had this game put away, leading 30-14. But Massillon has stormed back using the pass. 2 big plays and some intermediate plays here. And a Fitch penalty, and it's 1st and goal Massillon at the Fitch 5 with 23 seconds
and Jim,
left.
It just goes to show how a good passing attack, really, in my estimation, will always really win out. Because you have the ability to strike, you have the ability to control clock, you have the ability to really hit up top with the passing game.
All right. 23 seconds left. Everybody's out of timeouts. Danny Clark takes the snap. Going to throw the fade to the back of the end zone, and he overthrew it. He was intending to pass for Huffman down in the far right corner, and it wound up almost landing in the Fitch band.
Now, the other thing I think they're going to come back to is the quick return route to Huffman, because they're literally leaving the corners wide open out on the edge. So it's either the fade route or those quick comebacks, but they've got such big receivers in comparison to the Falcon defenders. And you've got Clark, who has great loft on that ball, Jim.
19 seconds left. Huffman in motion to the right. Clark takes the snap, looks right, throws right, it is caught, touchdown! Running right.
You got a penalty marker there, Jim. There's a marker down right in front of me.
Couldn't hear you in the cacophony land. What do we got?
Legal procedure against Massillon.
Wow. They're not going to like that.
Wow, and the drama stirs. 14 seconds left here.
That'll take the ball back to the 10 and leave 14 seconds for Massillon to pull off the miracle. The Massillon miracle.
And the thing is, it gives Clark more space. It really allows those receivers, instead of being so bunched up inside that red zone, it really loosens it up probably a little bit for Clark. And let's remember, it's only second down. They still have plenty of time, and they have a good kicker.
All right. I'd be surprised if they kicked it here. Win it on the road. Clark throws the out. Diving catch attempt incomplete. Scooped up on the hop by a Fitch defender. But that ball was thrown low, maybe with the idea that nobody else would be able to get to it. But it's 3rd and goal from the 10 with 10 seconds to play.
Yeah, and they still get more plays. I mean, this is way more plays than I thought they'd end up getting. I thought they had 2. I mean, you're going to end up getting 4 out of this based on the passing that they've been able to do. Nice play that time by number 4 of the Falcons to come up and defend Gary Gibson. But the thing is, you still have plenty of time to run Andrew David on the field as long as it's an incompletion or into the end zone.
All right, empty backfield. Clark will take the snap. He'll retreat. Looks right, looks left. Now runs. He's hit and trapped at the 8-yard line. 2-1. Game over. Wow, an incredible play. The Falcon defense comes up big at the end. That's a play that Clark, a young man, still hobbling, elected to go for the run. Jason Hall going out to console him out on the field. And I think the young man is injured on the field, Jim. Yeah, or he's just out of gas. But there is a situation, as good as he looks and as much seasoning as he has gotten in the first 7 weeks of the season, a junior or a senior quarterback throws that one away, and they can either try to win it on 4th down or try to tie it on 4th down. And that brought this tremendous football game to a dramatic end. The Fitch Falcons breathe a deep sigh of relief and begin celebrating as they go to 7-0, holding off the Massillon Tigers, who suffer their first loss of the season, 30-27. Stay tuned. The A&M Total Restoration postgame show coming up next.